I really hope they do a pop figure
I kind of do too.
with
That'd
the
be
big top hat.
a Tom Hardy pop figure with the top hat. You know they're going to do that. We are live. Welcome
Yes.
back to the Nerdrotic podcast. My name is Gary Buechler. I am live in San Francisco, California with my good friend and co-host.
Dennis Bithoulkas. I'm in San Diego.
What is up, Dennis?
Nothing much. It's just sorry I was a little bit late on that one. I fell asleep a little earlier.
He did a little snoozy after work. That's
Yes.
totally fine. We are Melissa S tonight because she caught my cold. So sorry, the pretty aspect of the show is not here. So you're just stuck with this ruggedly
East one
handsome
and what is it? Thing one, thing two.
thing one and thing two. The ruggedly handsome thing one and thing two. Kind of like the dirty, ruggedly handsome Tom Hardy, who we both have Tom Hardys for.
Yes.
And we are going to speak briefly tonight. This will be kind of a short one on episode 6. These episodes do not have titles, thankfully. I don't know what the hell they'd call them.
Yeah. I
It's
don't know what they.
this is one of the weirdest shows I've ever seen because so little happened, yet I think this is the episode where the most happened. But essentially, the whole thing of the episode was he's carrying some barrels of gunpowder from point A to point B. But it's just all the shenanigans that happen in between there, Dennis.
I
Uh,
think actually the title for this episode should be "Shit Just Got Real."
Shit just got real. Horse shit just got real. I can't remember the line of what the butler said, who was the butler's Brace, when he was, he starts out the episode kind of disappeared, and Lorna Bowe's getting pretty worried about him, and the butler mentions that they had words, and she was worried about his safety. He's all, well, one, you don't have to. I'm paraphrasing here. You don't have to worry about James. He'll come back unhappy, and we're in trouble, or something like that. Or the shit will be going down, and he'll be unhappy. And that's the one thing is. I think we got a chuckle out of him this episode when he put a scarf over his son's face and he kind of went, huh. But no, he hasn't smiled.
Nope.
And Dennis, do we know why he's so pissed off?
I think it's just because he's knows that his father was killed. I mean, his father was murdered, and the East India Company is just trying to do the same thing to him. It's business as usual, and they're trying to screw them out of the land and all the titles that come with it, in the trade. And he's pretty much pissed off about it. I would be too.
I would be too, but I think it goes deeper than that. And they've insinuated that he was part of, or either he was on that slave ship
Yeah.
that they've been talking about. And
Well, that's
we found out
when they're talking about the dialogue about the slave ship, the first-hand account of that going down. That's actually James's words. James was actually the one that was supposed to. He was the one that nailed down the hatches on the slave ship, and that was what he was relaying as the official East India Trading Company manifest, if you will, of that ship going down. That's what they were reading from. At least that's what I got.
From the last episode when I forgot his name,
The magistrate.
The magistrate was talking about, this was last episode, they talked about the boat actually running aground and not sinking. So we know in a flashback that James was woken up by some kind of a tribe. We don't know what happened. I'm thinking we're going to find out the East India Company did what, they killed a bunch of slaves, but it's going to be much worse than that. I think it's going to be massive death on a massive scale, because he just seems to be on a, I'm going to destroy you all. It's more than just, he's becoming Batman. I want to build this company to be able to fund my revenge. That's kind of what I'm getting. This episode, though, it kind of opened up with him finding out a little information about his mother that he didn't want to hear from his from Alfred, basically his Alfred. And he told him, Brace told him that his mother tried to drown him.
Yeah.
when he was a kid. Now, I'm thinking the first thing that hit my mind was she knew that he was kind of a bad seed and something wicked this way comes. And she just tried to drown it before it could happen. Is that what you got out of this? Or do you think she was just crazy, Dennis?
I think that we were tying in with the supernatural here too, a lot of
Yes.
things. And I think what we're getting at is that she actually did succeed in killing him, and what came back is
See,
not.
you know what? That is totally cool.
Yeah.
So what either what came back with him or what came back in his body of the vessel is that's weird. It's kind of a double revenge thing for the
Yeah.
Native Americans and the slaves. I guess they found a way to make it like a double revenge story, which is crazy and cool. All the
Yeah.
same, and I love how the magic in this is not, it's just not like Harry Potter hocus pocus everywhere. We don't even know what's moving the chess pieces. It could be James, it could be something else. He does seem to know an awful lot, and it's not just from his moles. You know what I mean? There's something else going on. Like well, I don't want to get too ahead of myself there.
Well,
So
there's also what I keep getting is a sense of urgency. Like he doesn't have a lot of time to do this. Like
yes,
he needs to get this done because, and what I was getting from that whole, drowning scenes is that he's being pulled back.
being pulled back. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Early on in the episode, he just kind of goes for a little bath, and he's thinking a lot about his mother drowning him, and he sticks his head in the water, and he gets pulled down by something, and his son actually witnesses this.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it does feel like, now that you pointed out, a man who's like made a deal with the devil. You've got a certain amount of time before I collect your soul.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to give you, all this wherewithal and power to achieve your goals, but you don't have a lot of time, and it's not going to be perfect. And this is where, the shit goes down. Even Lorna Bowe warned him that, he can't be fucking around too much, because eventually the Crown and the East India Company are going to bury the hatchet, and he's going to get fucked. And we don't know if he could still get fucked by the Americans too.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. We're not too sure about the Americans here and Dumbarton. And I love the role they're playing in this, by the way. It's really cool because you rarely get, living in America, we never got to see kind of the other side of what the revolution was, which is very interesting, which was in a lot of ways they could have been labeled as terrorists. They could have been, and they were obviously rebels.
Well, this isn't even the revolution now. We're talking about the War of 1812.
Yeah, well, that's the second. I'm sorry, the second American Revolution.
This is the bitter grapes portion of it.
Oh yeah, this is where the most of the borderlines were drawn at the time, until the great Thomas Jefferson screwed the hell out of the French, and then we screwed the Spanish.
Yep.
So all is fair in love and screwing. This was probably one of my favorite episodes, though, because you saw, he was kind of kicking ass and taking names. He had a couple hiccups, but he got kind of shown his shit tonight on this episode. And we also see the rise of his sister, who finally went ahead and killed her fucking husband, that piece of shit. So what's her what is her? So her name is Zilpha. I'm trying to figure out what her husband's name is. Sorry, guys.
I can't remember.
There's a lot of British names in here. Here it is. It's Thorngeary. That's right. I should think Geary. How can I forget that? That's my real last name at birth, and Geary Avenue here in San Francisco. Lovely Geary. So she finally does it, and the way she does it is so fucked up. And she says that he told her to showed her how to kill him, and she took a big sewing needle and put it somewhere, in his abdomen. Yeah, it was a hat pin,
large hat pin,
and put it in his abdomen. I didn't really catch
his heart. What she did was
she did pounce it in his heart.
She was actually finding the ribs to where the space was between the ribs, and then just placed it right there and just stuck it right in,
poked him. and killed him. And then she ran over to Delaney's house, and he let her in, and he's starting a fire to do his little voodoo stuff. And she's all, I did it just how you showed me. And he does this little just off like, so when did I, and he didn't finish the sentence. And
Mhm.
you know, it was like, so when did I show you how to kill your husband? Because it wasn't me. And I'm thinking maybe it was whatever's possessing him, or maybe his mom. Maybe it's his mom doing all this. And just the flashback scenes with his mom with the dress on and the makeup are so freaking cool, dude. I just
Well,
the art of it is amazing.
my favorite name for James right now is when he goes and visits Helga, and the one of the prostitutes comes to Helga and says, "The devil is here."
Yes. Well, he's the devil from Africa. That's what he is. I mean,
Yes.
essentially, but he's kind of a son of Satan devil, he's very
Yes.
Ghost Rider, Batman,
Yes.
like in this, there's so much of Batman in this. I mean, this could be like an Elseworlds
You
Batman
know,
title,
I would love to see him as Johnny Blaze.
he would be amazing as Johnny Blaze. Holy shit.
Mhm.
And if they did the whole motion capture thing on his skull, so you can still get like Tom Hardy's mannerisms in the skull,
Yeah.
that would be so badass. And he's got a perfect voice to
Mhm.
where, they in the movies, Ghost Rider does talk.
Yeah.
You know what? I wouldn't mind seeing Tom Hardy as freaking Batman.
That
Get rid
too.
of Affleck. Yeah, you could cast Tom Hardy as Wonder Woman, and I'd be happy. Okay, so fuck it, why not? So the other thing is we're slowly moving some gunpowder over the cobbled roads, and the guy playing the chemist, which is his name is Comondale Chamondale
Chumley.
Chumley. Okay, Chumley. Sorry, I can't read. I'm high school education. He was a bad guy in the second Pirates movie, right? I think he was. Yeah, he
I
worked for
believe
the
so.
East India
Yes.
Company. So I guess he only works in 1800s English
Period
film and
pieces.
TV. But he eats up the screen when he is on there. Now this is a very dude heavy show, I will say. The
Yes.
two women who are in it are extremely strong actresses, though. They do a great freaking job. But there's a lot of dudes, but it's the 1800s, okay. But just the cast they have for this thing is just so fucking top notch. And Jonathan Pryce is doing a fantastic job too, just playing Sir Stuart Scott.
I
And
love Jonathan
God
Pryce.
damn it, those whole East India scene, every East India scene, I fucking love because it's just him berating these freaking idiots, um, and it's great.
And it's and they're always coming with him with bad news, and he always knows it, and he's like, "What is it this time?"
What is it this time? And he's tapping his cane. So, it starts to get a little weird. It's, when his first encounter with Winter in this episode, she's kind of hanging out. And at first she says, I'm not scared of you. And then he walks over to her and stares at her and he says something in what I'm going to assume is Swahili or some African language. And I think that was kind of him planting something. I don't know, which was a precursor for later. By the way, spoiler warnings. We're assuming you watched the show. If you're watching this, if not, then we just spoiled the hell out of the show. So sorry, but and she stares at him, and all of a sudden she says, "Now you're scaring me." And he's like, "You know what? I'm not the kind of person you should be hanging with. Your mom is safe. You should go home to your mom." So he warned her right there, like, "Don't be hanging out with me." Because I'm not sure I'm in control of all of my senses. And what you just pointed out, which I completely fucking missed, is like he's not James Delaney in any way, shape, or form. Or there might be a piece of him in there, but there's something else. They're definitely, I think you're dead on right on that one. I think there's something else in there. And she ends up at the end of the episode getting killed. Now he was in a drunken stupor. Why was he in a drunken stupor, Dennis?
Because his ship got, well, basically the East India guy, the lackey, shows up in the carriage and says that Jonathan Pryce's character just wanted to deliver a message to say the war is on.
Yeah, the
And
gloves are off.
The gloves are off, and the war is on. And he drives away. And as he drives away, James is walking towards to his boat, and the boat explodes and catches on fire.
Yeah, kind of like in the beginning of season 6 for Game of Thrones when Daenerys ships get all burned. You're screwed. Well, and then you know what? He does something un-James Delaney like. He kind of loses it. And this is where it really tips off the fact that he's on the clock. Now, obviously he's on the clock for the getting, he delivered the gunpowder, but he has to get to America, which I don't think is happening this season. I kind of thought it would, but it's not. But I think that's where, yeah, I even started going like, man, he's in a hurry to do something. Is he dying? I thought he was like dying, but your reason is way better, by the way. I think, yeah, that's I'm way
The
more into that.
supernatural stuff, yeah.
And it's getting more and more supernatural as it goes on. And again,
Yeah.
don't worry, folks. If you haven't watched the show and you're watching this to maybe see if you want to or not, it's not all hocusy pocusy.
No.
It is a lot of English guys talking in rooms, but it's really fucking interesting shit. Now, to backtrack a little bit, they were mixing the gunpowder at the guy's farm who was watching Delaney's kid. This is the guy who was in Guardians of the Galaxy. He was in The Fifth Element. Can't think of his name right now. He starts freaking out because he sees some what he believes are satanic symbols kind of etched on the wall of his barn where they're mixing this gunpowder. And he decides to find God and runs over and immediately confesses to the priest, who immediately rats him out to the East India Company. So the East India Company has found out where his factory is. Fortunately, James has that the
Scribe.
crossdresser, yeah, the transcribed crossdresser, who runs over immediately and tells him, which totally blows his cover, right? And James already knew that they knew. That's why, I mentioned earlier that he's knowing a lot more than he should.
No, actually, he didn't. He just was very calm about it and said, "You shouldn't be here. I will take care of it."
Okay, I'm not sure about that. We'll see. Yeah, or maybe, oops, I just kicked my camera. Maybe he did know. Yeah, but he wasn't that calm because afterwards he's all,
Yeah.
and he has them move the stuff when it's still very volatile, and they kind of strike out on that one, and that's where the more failure came in. That's where shit kind of starts falling apart for him. So I mean, this is kind of, I was waiting for this to happen, because even for me, I was like, he's having too many successes here, and I like to see him kind of, it was nice to see him fall flat in his face, but it was very James Delaney like, and he goes out and gets drunk and begs for a ship. He's like, I want a ship.
Well, I actually like when he was sitting there with all the gunpowder that's being cured, where they finally move it, and he's just sitting there with a flint, and he's just striking the flint with this trail of gunpowder around between his legs, and just, and it's just very fatalistic, kind of just sitting there, and he's thinking, what the hell am I going to do, kind of thing.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
he's been presented with, if when Lorna Bowe pointed out that he's going to get crushed by the East India Company and the Crown, he was like, well, okay, I don't think he's afraid to die.
No.
I don't think he wants to die before whatever this mission is. What I need to find out very soon, though, is what is this mission? I've got an idea. I've got a couple ideas, and I do like a good mystery, but we need to kind of like get a little more, and I think we will get that. It looks like next episode, like he's getting his ass handed to him. I think he's probably going to get captured at some point. I can't believe he'd be running around with impunity in an era where the Crown could just put you in the tower for whatever fucking reason they want. There was barristers, there was lawyers back in their day, and there was some laws, but they could still do whatever the hell they want.
Yeah, if you had the money, you went to the tower.
Yeah, and I'm wondering how much money he still has. He did have that bag of jewels, but I think what might also be a problem, Dennis, is his sister. I think she might. It almost. I got the idea that he kind of rejected her a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think she's gonna start going psycho, and it's obviously she's either touched by him, or I have a feeling she might be getting a little magical herself, right?
What I got is that she was part of the plan that he had, and now that she's gone a little ahead of what he wanted to do, she's messed up his plans. And it's kind of like, almost kind of like a mojo thing where you have to have all the pieces of the spell in place in order for it to work.
Yep.
And she was the first piece of the spell that broke off. And that's when all the shit started falling out of place.
And she also realized that she was just part of the plan. That's
yes,
it.
exactly.
And she's a little miffed about that. But that's another thing he came out and said last episode. He said, there is just people who need to do their job for me, and that's it.
Well, he even said it this time to Atticus too. He said, I need people I can trust, and I need people I can put my absolute trust in.
And and that scene with Atticus right before, where Atticus kind of sussed out what he was about, and he's all, so you cut off the thumb of the guy who you thought was going to betray you, or you cut his thumb off because you knew he was going to betray you. And he's all, one, I could suss out. The other one, witchcraft. And James kind of turns over and looks, and that's when Atticus, who's been cool throughout this entire thing, he's been cool as the other side of the pillow, just starts to freak out and almost throws up in his in his throat.
Yeah. Well, so I like what James's reaction was. Put this body where everyone can find it, and you can keep the heart if you like.
If you keep the heart if you like. And he's all,
it just walks away.
Yep.
And then that's when Atticus just kind of goes, he finally breathes out and goes,
And so so maybe he's just been holding his cool this whole time. But how many episodes are we gonna have of Taboo? I wonder.
Think there's 10 or 13. I can't remember.
We could find out live on air. Yeah, it's because it seems like we're at it feels like a halfway point right now.
Yeah,
I think it's probably like 10. This show is just getting better, dude. And Tom Hardy's stock is just going up. And God, this guy's a freaking star, man.
Well, the one part when he's talking to his son, what did you see, boy? Nothing. Continue to see nothing.
Yeah, and then he puts the scarf on him. He goes, "Oh, cute." It's like, oh god.
Just the way he did that whole thing, and he's just kind of staring at the boy and not blinking, and I was just a nose away, and I'm just like, wow, okay, that's really kind of creepy.
I mean, this show is such a dude fest. It's just one badass line after one badass line, perfectly delivered by kind of semi-mumbly but badass Tom Hardy. So he's kind of like, he's the new Clint Eastwood, Charlie Bronson, kind of all mixed into one. He's this is probably not even a good era to say this. He's a man's man, okay? And like Hollywood has been kind of missing that. We haven't had, a ball buster for a while. And it's good to have one or two. Come on. They can't all be, we love Chris Pratt and Robert Downey Jr., but those are like the fun, those are your crazy fun uncles. And this is like your scary dad.
That's why the Daniel Craig James Bond.
Exactly. So well. Exactly. Could you imagine Daniel Craig and Tom Hardy in a movie together? They probably have been in a movie together.
I think they have. Yeah,
they probably have. But it probably wasn't good. There needs to be one now. Yeah, definitely a big thumbs up for this episode, Dennis. Is there anything else you wanted that sticks out to you?
Did we talk about what he actually did to the farmer?
No. So the farmer, that's fine. I just tailed off on that. So the farmer did go and confess to the priest. The priest ratted him out. So there was some retribution there. And again, he figured it out pretty quickly. He figured it out because the transcriber told him it was done during a confession, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So
yeah. He told him it was the farmer too. So he
did. And he came back and kind of told Chumley that, hey, we're going to do this. I know you're totally, Chumley was like telling him all the dangers. He's all, okay, that's been said. We're still going to do it. Get your shit together. And he puts something in Chumley's hand. And what does he put in Chumley's hand?
A severed tongue.
A severed tongue. So the boy is now, I guess, in his father's care. And the boy thought kind of quick. They were transporting the gunpowder, and they had these cholera signs on it to keep people away, and they got stopped. And they said, "Oh, it's cholera. It's bad. You don't want to get in there."
Stopped by soldiers.
They got stopped by soldiers, and they're transporting the cholera, the gunpowder in caskets. So the kid had the wherewithal to jump in one of the caskets, and when the soldier checked back, he saw like a dead kid in there and jumped back and saved his ass. And that was pretty quick thinking by the kid. So maybe he does have a little bit of pappy in him. That might be bad though.
Yeah.
You know,
Who knows?
but who knows? But yes, it does end with our dear, cute, sweet little Winter dead, which I kind of thought she, you know, remember when I first saw her, I thought she was kind of like a ghost.
I thought the same things as well. It was just she was very ethereal, if you will.
She's very ethereal. So is it the last we're going to see of her? I doubt it. I highly doubt it. So
should be one of the many ghosts that haunts him.
yes, and hopefully we'll see kind of more of that. We did see a little bit of it in episode 1. I want to see more of that, and I want to know what that's about. So and that, wow, that really plays into your theory that like he's either on this earth, you know, he did die and he's just buying some time now before he has to go back to hell, or I don't know.
I think it's to pay for all the retribution of how he, you know, all the slaves that died on board that ship, and he is. And I'm pretty sure it also has something to do with his mother and his tribe and stuff like that he's from, where you're not supposed to do that kind of thing and you have to pay for it. And this is his payment back, is
like a life debt.
Yeah. Taking care of the East India Company that was doing that in the first place. And also, getting the revenge for what they forced him to do, was to nail that shut and kill those slaves.
Yeah, which was in their manual, basically.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Their unofficial manual of slave transport. That is, and I bet you that was real. I bet you that was just real. Yeah, that's crazy shit. Goddamn. So, wonderful episode of Taboo. It's a little freaky. It's very freaking dark, really dark. Yeah, this is not Riverdale, ladies and gentlemen. This is big boy stuff. So for our next podcast, I guess Melissa and I or somebody, we're going to do Expanse. We're going to go ahead with Expanse, and we're going to do Dennis and I are going to go ahead and do Legion, because Legion just looks like it's just going to get better. So FX has 2 amazing shows right now.
Oh yeah.
And whoops, kicked my camera again. And yes, all of our videos and podcasts can be found at nerdrotic.com. All of our YouTube videos can be found on YouTube at the Nerdrotic channel. And please like us on Facebook, which is the Nerdrotic Podcast. And also subscribe to us on iTunes, and you can just search the Nerdrotic Podcast or just the word Nerdrotic, and you will find us there. We also have links on our website. Dennis's Twitter is at DaForce, DAFORCE. My Twitter's at Nerdrotics, which is Nerdrotic plural. And our co-host John Reed's at John Reed 16. Am I right on that one?
Yep,
and
right.
Melissa's is at Agent Bossy Boots. Am I missing anything, Dennis?
The Facebook page you already said, right? With all our information. Subscribe to our iTunes. Tell us what you want to hear. Tell us what we're doing, how we're doing. We want to hear from you guys. You can also, do that on our Facebook page. You could do that on our website as well, right?
Yes. There's comments on our website. You can comment anywhere. You can comment on these videos.
We do answer back.
We do answer back, and there are prizes involved too. We've had some prize packs go off. I would like to have gotten more off, but I didn't hear back from some people, so I've had some extras. Also, we're going to be doing more of these. We're really big, Dennis and I are, at least, on the live videos after TV shows. We want to do as much of these as we can, but we just, unfortunately, tonight's got to be kind of short because we all have our day jobs to get to, and it's mighty late. But look forward to more of these. We will be doing one for Taboo, for Legion, and the Amazing Expanse. So, Dennis, take us out.
Don't let the door hit your ass on the way out, America.
May the small folks sing songs of your greatness. Thank you for watching and listening.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.